They saw you when you had almost nothing left. They saw you lose people, lose opportunities, question yourself, and fight battles you never explained to anyone. And some of them believed you would never become more than the broken version they remember. But they made one mistake. They judged your future by a chapter Allah had not finished writing. What if the rejection was preparing you? What if the delay was protecting you? What if the season that made people doubt you was the very season Allah used to rebuild you? Because when Allah changes a person's life, He does not need permission from the people who underestimated them. Stay with me, because these 7 reminders may completely change how you see everything you have been going through. 1. Allah let them see your lowest point for a reason. There are seasons in life when Allah allows you to be seen in a condition you never wanted anyone to witness. People see you struggling, they see you confused, they see you trying to hold yourself together while everything around you seems to be falling apart. They may see you lose something you loved, walk through disappointment, experience rejection, struggle financially, feel forgotten, or stand in a place where your confidence has almost disappeared. And sometimes the hardest part is not only the struggle itself, the hardest part is knowing that people are watching. You wonder why Allah allowed them to see you like this. Why did they have to witness your weakest season? Why could your hardship not have remained private? Why did the people who doubted you get a front row seat to the chapter in which you felt powerless? But remember something important. Being seen at your lowest does not mean you will remain there. People often make permanent judgments about temporary seasons. They see one difficult chapter and assume they understand your entire story. They see you fall once and decide you will never stand again. They see one door close and assume your opportunities are finished. They see you crying and mistake your tears for weakness. They see you waiting and think Allah has forgotten you. But they do not know what Allah is doing inside you. They cannot see the patience being developed in your heart. They cannot see how your dua is becoming more sincere. They cannot see the pride leaving you. They cannot see the wisdom you are gaining. They cannot see how Allah is teaching you to depend less on people and more upon Him. They only see the outside of the struggle, while Allah knows every transformation taking place within you. Sometimes your lowest point becomes the place where your relationship with Allah becomes strongest. When everything was comfortable, perhaps you made dua quickly, but hardship taught you how to speak to Allah with your entire heart. When people surrounded you, perhaps you depended too much on their approval, but loneliness taught you that the one who truly remains is Allah. When life followed your plans, perhaps you believed you were in control, but disappointment taught you that Allah's plan is greater than anything you could arrange for yourself. This is why you should never be ashamed of a difficult season. The Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, experienced rejection from his own brothers. He was thrown into a well. He was sold. He was falsely accused. He was imprisoned. Imagine how his situation may have appeared to someone looking only at the surface. They could have thought his life was moving from one disaster to another. Yet the prison was not the end of Yusuf's story. The well was not the end. The betrayal was not the end. Allah was still writing. The people who saw one chapter could not see the destination Allah had prepared. Your life may also contain chapters that make no sense while you are living through them. You may feel embarrassed by how far you have fallen. You may compare yourself with people who appear to be moving faster. You may wonder why everyone else seems to be celebrating while you are still trying to survive. Do not measure your worth by your current position. A seed under the soil looks buried before it begins to grow. From the outside, nothing appears to be happening. Yet beneath the surface, roots are forming. Strength is developing where nobody can see it. Some of the greatest changes in your life may happen exactly like this. Quietly, privately, deep inside you. Your difficult season may be teaching you lessons that success could never teach. It may be revealing who truly cares about you. It may be exposing relationships you needed to leave. It may be showing you habits that were destroying your peace. It may be preparing your character for responsibilities you were not ready to carry before. So when people see you struggling, do not become obsessed with proving them wrong. You do not need to perform for them. You do not need to explain every hardship. You do not need to convince everyone that you are going to succeed. Protect your heart. Continue making dua. Continue working. Continue improving. Continue returning to Allah. Let your transformation happen quietly, because sometimes the most powerful answer to those who misunderstood your struggle is not an argument. It is becoming the person Allah was teaching you to become through that struggle. And one day, when you look back at the version of yourself who thought everything was ending, you may realize that Allah was not destroying your story. He was rebuilding you. Your lowest point may not have been the place where Allah abandoned you. It may have been the place where He taught you how to rise differently. 2. They saw you break. Now they will see Allah restore you. There are moments when life does not simply hurt you, it breaks something inside you. You reach a point where you no longer recognize yourself. The person who used to laugh easily becomes quiet. The person who used to trust becomes careful. The person who used to wake up excited begins waking up exhausted. You continue functioning, but inside you feel as though something precious has been damaged. Maybe someone betrayed you. Maybe a relationship ended in a way you never expected. Maybe you lost someone you deeply loved. Maybe the dream you spent years building suddenly disappeared. Maybe people who promised to stand beside you walked away exactly when you needed them. Whatever happened, you felt the breaking. And some people saw it too. They saw your tears. They saw your silence. They saw you disappear for a while. They saw your confidence decrease. Some felt compassion for you, while others may have secretly believed you would never recover. But human beings often misunderstand brokenness. They think a broken season means a broken future. Allah can create strength from places that once carried pain. Restoration does not always mean receiving exactly what you lost. Sometimes Allah restores you by giving you something better than what you were trying desperately to keep. You ask for the relationship back, but Allah restores your self-respect. You ask for the old opportunity back, but Allah gives you a new direction. You ask to become the person you were before the pain, but Allah develops a wiser, calmer, stronger version of you. That is restoration too. Sometimes we believe healing means returning to our old selves, but perhaps the old version of you could not carry what Allah intends to place in your future. Maybe that version trusted people too quickly. Maybe you ignored warning signs. Maybe you depended too heavily on validation. Maybe you were afraid of being alone. Maybe you accepted disrespect simply because you did not want anyone to leave. Then the breaking happened, and slowly, painfully, you began learning. You learned that not everyone deserves access to your heart. You learned that losing someone is sometimes better than losing yourself. You learned that rejection does not determine your value. You learned that loneliness can become peaceful when your heart is connected to Allah. You learned that you can survive days you once believed would destroy you. Look at what Allah may already have restored inside you. Perhaps you are still waiting for your circumstances to change, but your heart has changed. You pray differently now. You think differently. You recognize things you once ignored. You have stronger boundaries. You are less desperate for approval. You are becoming more careful about where you place your love, time, and energy. Do not overlook this growth simply because your external life has not yet reached the place you want. Restoration often begins inside before it becomes visible outside. Allah reminds us that with hardship comes ease. The verse does not teach us that believers will never struggle. It teaches us not to believe hardship is the entire story. Your pain has a limit. Your difficult season has a limit. Even the night has an ending, and healing rarely announces itself loudly. One day you notice that you did not cry about it today. Another day you realize you went several hours without thinking about the person who hurt you. Then you notice that something which once destroyed your peace can no longer control your emotions. You begin smiling without forcing yourself. You start dreaming again. You begin wanting to build again. You become excited about possibilities again. This is how restoration can happen, piece by piece, prayer by prayer, day by day. Do not rush it. A heart that has been deeply hurt deserves patience. Do not insult your healing because it is taking longer than you expected. Allah knows what you survived. He knows the conversations nobody heard. He knows how many nights you cried quietly. He knows how many times you almost gave up, but still turned toward Him. People may remember the day you fell. Allah knows every day you fought to stand again. And perhaps one day the people who thought you were finished will meet a version of you they never expected. Not arrogant, not bitter, not obsessed with revenge, just stronger, more peaceful, more aware of Allah. Your greatest restoration is not becoming successful enough to impress people. It is becoming so healed that the people who hurt you no longer control your heart. It is reaching a point where you can say, "What happened to me was painful, but Allah did not allow it to destroy my faith." That is strength. Let people remember your broken season if they want. You do not have to remain there simply because that is the version of you they remember. Allah can change a heart. Allah can change circumstances. Allah can open doors you never considered. Allah can place peace where there was once chaos. So continue walking. Your broken chapter does not get to decide your ending. 3. Your pain was building a version of you they never expected. Pain changes people. The question is not whether pain will change you. The question is what you will allow that pain to produce inside you. Pain can make someone bitter, suspicious, angry, and closed. But when you bring your pain to Allah, hardship can also produce maturity, patience, wisdom, courage, discipline, and an entirely different understanding of life. Think about the person you were before your hardest season. There were things you believed then that you no longer believe today. There were people you trusted without hesitation. There were situations you tolerated because you did not understand your own boundaries. There were problems you thought you could never survive. Then life taught you, not gently, but deeply. You discovered strength because you were forced to use it. You discovered patience because you had no choice except to wait. You discovered prayer because certain problems had no human solution. You discovered your own courage because nobody came to rescue you. You discovered Allah's nearness because everything else felt far away. And now you are becoming someone people did not expect. They expected the betrayal to make you desperate. Instead, it taught you discernment. They expected loneliness to make you chase people. Instead, it taught you how to enjoy your own company and seek closeness to Allah. They expected failure to stop you. Instead, it taught you how to begin again without needing applause. They expected criticism to silence you. Instead, it taught you that you cannot build your life around human opinions. Your pain became a classroom, and some lessons are only learned when life removes your comfort. This does not mean you must romanticize suffering. Islam does not teach us to search for pain or pretend hardship feels beautiful while we are experiencing it. Pain hurts, loss hurts, betrayal hurts, but pain does not have to be meaningless. Even when you cannot understand why something happened, you can ask a better question. Ya Allah, what can I learn from this? How can this bring me closer to you? What must I change before I enter the next chapter of my life? That question changes everything, because now you are no longer only suffering, you are growing. Maybe your hardship exposed a weakness you needed to confront. Maybe it exposed your attachment to people. Maybe it showed you that you were building your confidence on compliments. Maybe it revealed that you kept postponing your relationship with Allah until life became difficult. Maybe it exposed friendships that only survived when you were useful. Sometimes pain reveals what comfort hides. And once you see clearly, you cannot return to being as unaware as you once were. This is why the version of you emerging from hardship can be completely different. You may become quieter because you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone. You may become selective because experience taught you that access to your life should be earned. You may become disciplined because you understand what happens when you neglect yourself. You may become humble because you know how quickly life can change. You may become compassionate because you now understand struggles you once judged from a distance. That last transformation is especially beautiful. A person who has experienced pain and remained connected to Allah can become a source of mercy for others. You notice quiet suffering. You recognize the smile someone uses to hide sadness. You stop judging people too quickly. You understand that everyone is fighting battles you cannot see. Your pain softens certain parts of your heart while strengthening others. This is growth. And eventually, people may notice. Someone who knew the old you may say, "You have changed." And perhaps you have. You should have. You did not survive everything simply to remain exactly the same. But make sure your transformation is not built on proving something to people. Do not become successful because you want your ex to regret losing you. Do not become disciplined only because someone called you weak. Do not improve yourself merely to make your critics jealous. Those motivations may create temporary energy, but they keep your heart tied to the very people you are trying to move beyond. Grow for something greater. Grow because Allah gave you another day. Grow because your life is an amana. Grow because your future deserves a healthier version of you. Grow because you want to stand before Allah knowing that hardship did not make you abandon yourself or your faith. Then your transformation becomes deeper than revenge. It becomes worship. And perhaps the people who underestimated you will eventually notice the difference, but by then you may no longer care whether they notice. Because the strongest version of you is not the version that finally impresses everyone. It is the version that no longer needs everyone to be impressed. 4. Allah is about to turn your humiliation into honor. There is a particular kind of pain that comes from humiliation. It is not simply losing something. It is losing it while people are watching. It is being rejected publicly, being laughed at, being underestimated, being spoken about unfairly, being treated as though you have no value, being ignored by people you once helped, being made to feel small in a room where you once gave everything. Moments like these remain in the memory because they touch something deep inside us. You replay what happened. You think about what you should have said. You imagine returning one day successful enough to make everyone regret how they treated you. But be careful. Do not allow humiliation to make revenge the purpose of your life. Your honor does not come from defeating people. Your honor comes from Allah. This changes the way you respond. When your worth comes from people, you spend your life trying to manage their opinions. When they praise you, you feel powerful. When they criticize you, you collapse. When they include you, you feel valuable. When they reject you, you question yourself. But when you understand that dignity ultimately belongs to Allah, and that true honor comes through obedience to Him, human opinion loses some of its power over your heart. People can misunderstand you without changing who you are. They can reject you without reducing your worth. They can gossip about you without rewriting what Allah knows about you. They can laugh at your current circumstances without knowing where your story is going. Look again at Yusuf, peace be upon him. He went from being thrown into a well to standing in a position of responsibility and authority. The same story that contained betrayal also contained honor. But notice what made Yusuf remarkable. When he gained power, he did not become cruel. He had the opportunity to punish those who hurt him, yet his character remained greater than his pain. That is real elevation. Anyone can dream about becoming powerful enough to hurt those who once hurt them. But Islam teaches something higher. Become powerful enough that you no longer need to. Your honor is not complete if success turns you arrogant. Your rise is not beautiful if you become the same kind of person who once wounded you. If Allah improves your circumstances, remain humble. If He gives you more wealth, remember the days when you counted every amount. If He gives you influence, remember the days nobody listened. If He gives you confidence, remember how it felt when yours disappeared. If He gives you a platform, use it carefully. If He gives you the ability to help someone who is struggling where you once struggled, help them. That is how humiliation becomes honor, without corrupting your soul. And sometimes Allah's honor does not look like public success. Sometimes honor is walking away from people who continually disrespect you. Sometimes honor is staying silent when you could expose someone. Sometimes honor is choosing halal when haram appears easier. Sometimes honor is refusing to beg for a place where you are repeatedly unwanted. Sometimes honor is accepting that Allah removed you from a situation because staying there was slowly destroying your dignity. Do not restrict Allah's elevation to fame, money, status, or applause. Perhaps Allah is elevating your character. Perhaps He is elevating your understanding. Perhaps He is protecting you from environments you once begged to enter. Perhaps the greatest honor is that the version of you who once needed everyone is becoming someone whose heart knows that Allah is enough. So when you remember those who embarrassed you, do not make their downfall your dua. Ask Allah for healing. Ask for justice where justice is needed. Ask for protection. Ask Him to elevate your character before He elevates your position. Because if Allah gives you a higher position while your heart remains wounded and arrogant, success itself can become another test. But if Allah heals your heart first, then whatever He gives you can become a blessing. There may come a day when you enter rooms where you were once ignored. There may come a day when opportunities find you after years of rejection. There may come a day when people who dismissed you suddenly respect you. If that day comes, remember who carried you through the nights when none of those people were there, Allah. Remember who heard the dua you could barely finish, Allah. Remember who knew the truth when people misunderstood you, Allah. Then your rise will not make you worship attention. It will make you more grateful to the one who never needed the crowd to recognize your worth. 5. The same people who doubted you will watch you rise. Being doubted can hurt, especially when the doubt comes from people close to you. You tell someone about a dream and they laugh. You explain what you want to build and they immediately tell you why it will fail. You decide to change your life and someone reminds you of every previous mistake. You begin practicing your faith more seriously and people treat your transformation as temporary. They remember the old you so clearly that they cannot imagine a new you. This is one of the reasons growth sometimes requires silence. Not everyone needs to understand what Allah has placed in your heart. Not every dream needs to be announced. Not every plan needs an audience. Sometimes you need to stop asking people for permission to become who you know you must become. Because people often judge your future using your past. Allah is not limited by your past. People say, you failed before, but failure can teach you. People say, you wasted years, but Allah can place barakah in the years ahead. People say, you are not talented enough, but consistent effort can build what natural talent never develops. People say, nobody from your background does something like that. But every new path begins with someone who refuses to accept old limitations. Still, there is an important difference between confidence and entitlement. Do not assume that because people doubted you, Allah owes you a public victory over them. Instead, place your trust in Allah, take the means available to you, work with discipline, and accept that the outcome belongs to Him. Tawakkul is not sitting still and expecting miracles while refusing effort. Trust Allah and move your feet. Make dua and improve your skills. Ask Allah for provision and work honestly. Ask Him for knowledge and study. Ask Him for healing and remove yourself from what repeatedly harms you. Ask Him for a better future and stop repeating the habits that created your old one. Your rise requires participation. Many people love the idea of elevation, but dislike the discipline that comes before it. They want confidence without doing difficult things. They want success without consistency. They want peace without boundaries. They want closeness to Allah without changing the sins that continually darken their hearts. Real change asks something from you. You may need to wake up when others sleep. You may need to study while others entertain themselves. You may need to say no to people you still love. You may need to leave environments that keep producing the same version of you. You may need to spend months working without visible results. And during that period, people may doubt you even more. Let them. Their doubt does not need to become your distraction. One of the greatest mistakes you can make is spending so much energy proving people wrong that you stop doing the work required to become better. Do not argue, build. Do not explain endlessly, improve. Do not post every plan, execute. Do not allow criticism to pull you into fights that contribute nothing to your future. Your time is valuable. Protect it. And remember that one day, some of the same people who doubted you may change their opinion. They may suddenly praise what they once mocked. They may tell others they always knew you could do it. Human beings change. Do not become consumed by exposing their hypocrisy. You have moved forward. Keep moving. If they apologize sincerely, forgive where you can. If they return only because your circumstances improved, use wisdom. You can forgive someone without returning them to the same position in your life. You can have a clean heart and still maintain boundaries. You can wish someone well without giving them unlimited access to you. Your rise should make you wiser, not naive. Most importantly, do not allow being doubted to create arrogance when you finally achieve something. The believer knows how quickly circumstances can change. The person succeeding today may struggle tomorrow. The person struggling today may flourish tomorrow. So stay humble. If Allah opens a door, say Alhamdulillah. If Allah gives you more than you expected, say Alhamdulillah. If people finally recognize what they could not see in you before, say Alhamdulillah. Because the goal was never to make them worship your success. The goal was to recognize the one who made every opportunity possible. And perhaps the most beautiful moment will not be when they finally believe in you. It will be when you realize you no longer needed their belief to continue. 6. No one can stop the rise Allah has written for you. One of the greatest forms of peace comes when you understand that what Allah has decreed for you cannot accidentally miss you. People may create difficulty. They may reject you. They may close a door they control. They may speak badly about you. They may refuse to help. They may try to discourage you. But no human being possesses the keys to your entire future. Only Allah does. Sometimes we give people too much power in our minds. We believe one person's rejection has destroyed everything. One employer says no, and we believe provision is finished. One relationship ends, and we believe love is finished. One friend walks away, and we believe companionship is finished. One opportunity disappears, and we believe our future has disappeared with it. But Allah has more than one door. The person who rejected you is not the Lord of your provision. The person who left you is not the owner of your destiny. The person who underestimated you does not decide the limits of your life. When Allah wills good for you, He is capable of bringing it through paths you never expected. This is why Tawakkul is so powerful. You still work, you still plan, you still seek advice, you still knock on doors, but your heart does not worship the door. Your heart trusts the one who can open another. This also protects you from desperation. When you believe a person is your only chance, you may tolerate humiliation to keep them. When you believe one opportunity is your only future, you may compromise your values to secure it. When you believe one connection controls your provision, you become terrified of upsetting them. But when your heart remembers Allah, you can say, I will do what is right, even if this door closes, because Allah is not limited to this door. That is freedom. And sometimes Allah allows a door to close precisely because you were beginning to depend on it too much. You cried when the opportunity disappeared. Later, you may understand that it was protecting you. You begged for a person to remain. Later, you may realize that keeping them would have cost you your peace. You wanted one path desperately, then Allah redirected you towards something you never would have chosen on your own. At first, redirection feels like rejection. Only later do you sometimes see the mercy inside it. This is why patience requires trust before understanding. Anyone can say Alhamdulillah when everything makes sense. Faith becomes deeper when you can still turn toward Allah while the page looks confusing. You say, Ya Allah, I do not understand this, but I know you understand what I cannot see. That does not remove sadness. It gives sadness somewhere safe to rest. And if Allah has written something beneficial for you, you do not need to destroy yourself trying to force it. Take the means, yes. Work hard, yes. Make dua, yes. But do not become spiritually exhausted, believing everything depends entirely upon your own ability. You are responsible for effort. Allah controls outcomes. This balance creates strength. When you succeed, you stay humble because you know success was not yours alone. When you fail, you do not completely collapse because you know one outcome cannot cancel Allah's wisdom. When people oppose you, you remain careful but not terrified. When people praise you, you appreciate them but do not become addicted to their approval. Your heart becomes steady, and perhaps your rise will look different from what you imagined. Maybe you think rising means becoming famous. Allah may give you privacy and peace instead. Maybe you think rising means becoming wealthy. Allah may give you enough, protect you from greed, and fill your home with barakah. Maybe you think rising means everyone finally admiring you. Allah may remove your need to be admired. Do not tell Allah exactly what elevation must look like. Ask for what is good. Ask for halal provision. Ask for beneficial knowledge. Ask for righteous relationships. Ask for strength. Ask for peace. Ask for closeness to Him. Then allow Allah's wisdom to determine the shape of the answer. The strongest believer is not the one who believes, I will definitely receive every worldly thing I want. The stronger belief is, whatever Allah chooses for me, I will continue trusting Him, obeying Him, and becoming better. No person can prevent what Allah truly intends to reach you, and nothing that reaches you can exist outside His knowledge. So stop living as though your entire future sits in the hands of someone who does not even control tomorrow. Return your heart to Allah, then continue your work with courage. 7. Your next chapter will make your struggle make sense. Some chapters of your life will only make sense after you have left them. While you are inside them, everything looks disconnected. Why did this person leave? Why did that opportunity fail? Why did I have to wait so long? Why did Allah allow me to become attached to something I eventually lost? Why did I work so hard and still experience disappointment? Why did other people move forward while I felt stuck? You ask questions because you can only see one page at a time. Allah sees the entire story, and often life gives you understanding gradually. You look back and realize that the rejection forced you toward another opportunity. You realize the heartbreak pushed you back toward Allah. You realize the lonely season gave you time to rebuild yourself. You realize the financial struggle taught you discipline. You realize being underestimated taught you to work without applause. You realize the delay protected you from receiving something before you were mature enough to carry it. Not every painful event will receive a complete explanation in this dunya. There are things you may never fully understand here. Faith means you do not require every answer before you continue trusting Allah. But many times, Allah allows enough pieces to connect that you look back and say, now I understand why I could not stay where I was. Think about the person you are becoming. Would that person exist without some of the difficulties you experienced? Would you pray the way you pray now? Would you recognize false people as quickly? Would you appreciate peace as deeply? Would you understand your own strength? Would you value sincere relationships? Would you know how dangerous it is to place your entire happiness in another human being? Perhaps your next chapter does not erase your pain, Perhaps it gives your pain context. You realize that what felt like the end was actually a transition. You thought Allah was taking everything away. He was teaching your hands to release what you could not carry into the future. You thought you were being buried. You were developing roots. You thought you were forgotten. Allah was teaching you to stop depending on constant human recognition. You thought the silence meant nothing was happening, but your character was changing every day. And one day you may enter a season you once prayed for. Be careful when you arrive. Do not forget the version of yourself who cried for what you now have. Do not become careless with blessings simply because they have become normal. The job you complain about may once have been the opportunity you begged Allah for. The peaceful home you take for granted may once have been your greatest dream. The confidence you now carry may have been built through years of insecurity. The strong relationship with Allah you now treasure may have grown in nights when nobody else was available. Remember, gratitude protects blessings from becoming invisible. And if your next chapter becomes beautiful, do not use it to mock the people who are still struggling. You know what the bottom feels like. You know what it feels like when people assume you will never recover. So become the person you needed when you were there. Encourage without pretending everything is easy. Help without humiliating. Give without announcing. Listen without judging. Remind people of Allah without acting as though you have never made mistakes. Your rise becomes more meaningful when it produces mercy. Maybe one day someone will ask you, "How did you become this strong?" They will see the calm version of you, the disciplined version, the healed version, the version that can lose something without losing themselves. They will not see every night that created that person. They will not see the private duas. They will not know how many times you wanted to quit. They will not understand how many times you had to rebuild from nothing. But you will know. And Allah knows. That is enough. Do not become impatient because your current chapter still feels difficult. You are reading a story that is still being written. Today may contain confusion. Tomorrow may contain clarity. Today may contain waiting. Tomorrow may reveal why waiting mattered. Today may contain tears. Tomorrow may contain gratitude for something those tears taught you. Continue walking. Continue praying. Continue correcting yourself. Continue seeking forgiveness. Continue taking the next halal step, even when it feels small. You do not need to see the entire staircase before you take the next step. And when fear tells you nothing is changing, look at how far Allah has already brought you. There was a version of you who did not think you could survive what you have already survived, but you are still here. Your heart still turns toward Allah. You are still trying. You are still learning. You are still becoming. Perhaps that itself is one of the greatest signs of growth. So do not let the chapter that hurt you become the chapter where you stop. Keep going until you discover what Allah was teaching you through it. Keep going until your pain becomes wisdom. Keep going until your weakness becomes dependence upon Allah. Keep going until your disappointment becomes direction. And whether your future looks exactly like what you imagined or becomes something completely different, ask Allah to make it better for your dunya and your akhirah. Because the greatest rise is not merely when people who doubted you finally see you succeed. The greatest rise is when everything you went through brings you closer to Allah, strengthens your character, cleans your heart, and leaves you standing with greater faith than before. Then your struggle did not destroy you. By the permission of Allah, it transformed you. If you are still in the middle of your struggle, do not assume Allah has finished your story. Keep your heart close to Him, keep moving forward, and let patience shape you instead of pain destroying you. One day you may look back and realize the season that made people doubt you was the season Allah used to make you stronger. Trust His timing, protect your faith, and never let a difficult chapter convince you that your best days are already behind you.